Commissioner of Police Ian Quealy disclosed that indeed quantities of cannabis, which are exhibits in matters before the magistrate's court, have recently gone missing from police custody. The news was first made public last week in a press release from the opposition's St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. At the time of its disappearance, the drugs were placed at a location outside of the secured exhibit room, the commissioner disclosed. On discovering the drugs were missing, an investigation was immediately launched, the commissioner said. He added that currently the investigation is supervised by head of the Crime Directorate, Assistant Commissioner Andre Mitchell. He will be assisted by external experienced investigators from within the region who arrived in the Federation earlier on a previous arranged capacity building engagement. The disappearance of these drugs is a disturbing and an extremely serious matter which is being treated with the seriousness that it deserves, the commissioner added. The Director of Public Prosecution, Mr. Valston M. Graham, who has control of the criminal prosecution, was immediately informed. The commissioner said that because the drugs are associated with current court cases and there is an active investigation being conducted, it would be inappropriate to divulge to the general public the full details leading to the disappearance of the drugs at this time. He promised that no efforts would be spared in attempt to discover the identity of the person or persons responsible for this, quote, unethical and reprehensible act, end quote. Meanwhile, opposition leader Dr. Denzil Douglas has denied involvement in the disappearance of drugs, guns, and ammunition from the exhibit room at the Bassier police station. Dr. Douglas was responding to a caller on Freedom Radio's Issues program who suggested some involvement by Dr. Douglas. The opposition leader said that, quote, serious crises exists in the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force and the Ministry of National Security, end quote, and called for the assistance of the United States, Canadian, and United Kingdom governments in solving the large-scale disappearance of drugs, guns, and ammunition from the exhibition room of the police. The commissioner said suggestions that there have been external or improper influence in the treatment of this matter or any other police investigation are mischievous, malicious, and unfounded. SK Newsline will provide further updates on this report as it becomes available. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline. Despite warnings from the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank ECCB and the Financial Services Regulatory Commission of St. Kitts and Nevis, the FSRC, about a Bitcoin ATM in St. Kitts and Nevis, Bitcoin evangelist Roger Ver seemed unmoved. SK Newsline spoke exclusively to Mr. Ver prior to the advisories issued by the Central Bank and the FSRC about the advantages of using Bitcoin.
Digital currencies allow you to send and receive any amount of money with anyone, anywhere in the world instantly, basically for free, and there's nothing that anybody can do to freeze your account or block you from sending or receiving that money, or there's nothing that anybody can do to control it in any way. And the supply of most digital currencies, like Bitcoin Cash is my favorite one, the supply is limited. So as more and more people start to use it as cash, the price of Bitcoin Cash in terms of EC or US dollars or whatever goes up over time.
SK Newsline, in an email to Mr. Ver, had asked about the advisory from the central bank, but he declined to comment. Since 2017, Bitcoin has been split in two currencies, Bitcoin Core and Bitcoin Cash. Mr. Ver, one of the biggest proponents of cryptocurrency, has been promoting of late Bitcoin Cash, as it is proven to be more accessible. He also spoke about how businesses can participate in hosting a Bitcoin ATM.
We have 4 Bitcoin ATM machines physically here in St. Kitts. We're looking for some businesses to host them. So if you're interested in hosting a Bitcoin Cash ATM machine at your business here in St. Kitts, go and give an email to alex@bitcoin.com and we can work out all the details to make that happen.
Mr. Ver also spoke about how he sees St. Kitts and Nevis in the advancement of cryptocurrency.
Well, I don't want to step on anybody's toes in St. Kitts, but I love St. Kitts. I don't have to spend a single day here, but it's a great place, so I keep coming back and spending more and more time here every single year. And it's great. And so I'm so happy to be Kittitian at this point. So thank you to all the people of St. Kitts. I'm incredibly grateful and indebted to you guys for allowing me to do that. So thank you for that. And I'm Kittitian. I want to help St. Kitts. So go Team St. Kitts. So.
And you think Bitcoin will become a regular currency here?
I think it's going to become a regular currency for the whole world, and St. Kitts has the opportunity to lead the world on that front. If you haven't tried it yet, try Bitcoin Cash, and you'll see this is the future of money.
Meanwhile, Mr. Ver used the opportunity of this interview to give away $100 EC worth of Bitcoin Cash. Anyone downloading the Bitcoin app can scan this barcode and will instantly get $100 EC of Bitcoin Cash.
So this is what's called a Bitcoin paper wallet. And on the left here is the public address. So with my phone here, I'm going to scan that. Now I'm going to send 100 Eastern Caribbean dollars, right, to that. And so the money is going to go from my phone to this piece of paper here. And the first person that scans this with their Bitcoin.com wallet, the first person that scans this is the private key, they'll get the 100 EC. So the money will have gone directly from my phone to this piece of paper, to the video on the website. The first person to scan it gets 100 EC, just like that. The fee to do that was less than a penny, and it works just like that, just like magic. And if you're not the first person to scan this, sorry, but if you go to free.bitcoin.com, you get 10 US cents worth of Bitcoin Cash for free, which someday could easily become worth $1 or even 10 US dollars at some point. So
Bitcoin is a digital currency invented in 2009 that works independently from central banks. A statement from the FSRC, Financial Services Regulatory Commission of St. Kitts and Nevis, said the public is hereby cautioned that the operation of Bitcoin ATMs or any other sort of cryptocurrency operations is not currently regulated by the ECCB, the FSRC, or by any other regulatory authority in the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union, the ECCU. In addition, Bitcoin or any issuer of Bitcoin has not been designated under the Payment Systems Act in St. Kitts and Nevis. This means that there are no existing regulations to specifically protect consumers from financial losses if an organization that exchanges or holds virtual currencies fails or goes out of business. In other words, persons who choose to use these services or are contemplating use of these services ought to understand that they do so completely at their own risk, the release said. The extent of this risk at this point in time is not fully known by the novelty of the area and the absence of regulatory oversight. The ECCB issued an advisory on June 5, 2018, recognizing developments in the fintech space and encouraging consumers to be cautious in their use. The FSRC release added that the ECCB and the FSRC recognize the financial innovation is essential. However, the appropriate legal and regulatory framework is necessary to protect the integrity of the financial system and investors and consumers alike. At this stage, the ECCB, as a regional regulator, is pressing ahead with its work to advise the governments of the ECCU on the appropriate regional framework for fintech regulation and supervision, as well as a strategy to reduce the use of cash to help boost growth and competitiveness. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.
Ricardo's Home Center and Hardware is your first and best choice in hardware supplies. Visit Ricardo's for paint supplies, screws and nails, windows and doors, building supplies, plumbing supplies, tools, cabinetry, lavatory and accessories, tile, cement and grout, water heaters, lumber and plywood, and much more. At Ricardo's, our services are second to none in the Federation. We offer paint mixing, screen repair, screen installation, window repair, security screen door repair, and commercial doors and locks repair. We also offer delivery service. So come by at Ricardo's in Needsmith Estate, St. Kitts. Call 465-9229, 466-1824, 662-3451. Email rhcenter.h@gmail.com. For the best in supplies and service, visit Ricardo's Home Center and Hardware.
For all your printing needs at top-notch quality, go to Digital Print Plus, located on Princess Street, Bastyr, St. Kitts. At Digital Print Plus, you get the best in business cards, letterheads, envelopes, wristbands, tent cards, rack cards, flyers, brochures, logo designs, posters, photos, architectural designs, 3D renderings, and so much more. Digital Print Plus gives you the best quality at competitive prices. Contact us at 767-7468 or email digitalprintskn@gmail.com or follow us on Facebook at Digital Print SKN. Digital Print Plus for all your printing needs at the best quality.
On the road to good health, you must visit Nature's Discount Nutrition Center on 4th Street. Nature's Discount is your first stop for all natural supplements to maintain the health of the entire family. Natural alternative medicines to heal your ailments. Natural weight management supplies to ensure you look good. Nature's Discount Nutrition Center also carries all of your sports nutrition supplies, cleansing and digestion products, natural health and beauty products, oils, organic and gluten-free foods, energy and endurance, and sexual well-being supplements. Nature's Discount Nutrition Center on 4th Street is open 9 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Monday through Fridays and evenings 6:30 to 8:30 on Saturdays. Nature's Discount Nutrition Center, your get healthy, feel wealthy people.
Honorable Sean K. Richards, Minister of Youth and Culture, said that last year for CSEC, the scores were lower but increased this year. He was speaking at a press conference on Tuesday to announce the results.
For CSEC, for the schools last year, we saw 79.41. This year, we're registering 82.19. Overall, last year, it was 75.71. This year, overall, when you include the private candidates, it's 78.16. Most of the schools actually had an increase in the percentage pass rate for 2018.
Mr. Richards also stated that the CAPE scores this year has increased slightly.
What I can say to you is that for CAPE, last year the national pass rate was 87.15%. This year we have seen a slight increase in that the national pass rate is 88.08%. Let me qualify that though. The 88.08% is reflective of schools. So that would be CFBC and Nevis Sixth Form College in particular. Now for private centers, you had a 77.94 pass rate for CAPE. So overall, there is an 87.34% pass rate overall for CAPE. Of course, the Ministry of Education cannot control what happens relative to private candidates.
He also said that the Virchals High School stands out because their scores increased.
The Virchals, I think, stands out because you would recall last year the principal of Virchals High was part of the press conference when Virchals High had the lowest pass rate of 68.17% in the Federation. This year, Virchals High is noted for being the best performing school in St. Kitts with a pass rate of 87.05%, being only second to the Gingerland Secondary School, which had a pass rate of 95.80%.
The minister also disclosed to the press the number of passes of subjects per schools.
Bastia High School returned 631 acceptable grades out of 754. Keyon High School returned 451 out of 553. Charles E. Mills Secondary School returned 351 out of 430. Charlestown Secondary School returned 564 out of 715. Gingerland Secondary School returned 251 out of 262. Immaculate Conception Catholic School returned 182 out of 231. Nevis International Secondary School returned 30 out of 37. Sadler's Secondary School returned 235 out of 284. Virchals High School returned 457 out of 525. Washington Archibald High School returned 794 out of 1,010. St. Kitts private candidates returned 328 out of 620. New Horizon Rehabilitation Center returned 10 out of 10. Nevis Private returned 125 out of 204. Her Majesty's Prison returned 11 out of 19.
I am Chiari Morton, SKN Newsline.
The government and the opposition have paid tribute to slain police officer Sergeant Leon Powell, who was shot and killed at his business establishment in the wee hours of Saturday morning. Armed masked men attempted to rob Sergeant Powell at his bar in Newton Ground around 1 a.m. A struggle ensued, resulting in him being shot several times and dying at the scene. Prime Minister and Minister of National Security Timothy Harris, in a statement Saturday, extended condolences to the family and loved ones of Sergeant Powell. He reaffirmed the government's commitment to fully supporting the brave and steadfast security forces as they endeavor to defend the safety and security of the country. In his capacity as Minister of National Security, Prime Minister Harris encouraged the people of St. Kitts and Nevis to provide any information that they deem useful or relevant in clarifying the circumstances surrounding Sergeant Dason Powell's tragic death. The Prime Minister also extended condolences to the close-knit Newton Ground community from which Sergeant Powell hailed, as well as the leadership and rank-and-file members of the Ministry of National Security, and in particular the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force. Meanwhile, opposition leader and former Prime Minister Dr. Denzil Douglas said Sergeant Powell was a consummate professional who was friendly, empathetic, and easygoing. He was an ambitious human being and a businessman who was engaged in a number of business ventures, Dr. Douglas said in a statement hours after Sergeant Powell's murder. Dr. Douglas said Sergeant Powell previously worked closely with him as member of his security detail when he was Prime Minister. He served with distinction in that position and all other positions which he held prior, Dr. Douglas said. After the change of government, Police Sergeant Leon Powell was transferred to another post and was officially attached to the Stapleton Police Station in St. Peters at the time of his murder. The opposition leader called on the authorities to seek swift justice for Sergeant Powell and conveyed condolences to the family, friends, and the community of Newton Ground. Sergeant Powell is the second police officer to be gunned down since the start of the year. Sergeant Dwight Davis of St. Paul's was murdered on May 4th. The suspects in his murder are before the court. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.
Dr. Tricia Esdale, Chief Education Officer, said that the Ministry of Education is working on standardizing secondary education.
The Ministry of Education embarked on forming a secondary school principals meeting. It's a planning meeting in which we are working to standardize secondary education across St. Kitts and Nevis. We began our first meetings with the principals of the 6 secondary schools here in St. Kitts, and at the end of the year would have invited Paul Z. Wilkin and the 2 principals from Nevis to attend. Ms. Wilkin attended, the 2 principals from Nevis were unable to attend at that time. For the planning meeting, our focus is on standardizing the program within the 6 secondary schools across Forms 1 and 2. Beginning to look at what are the core requirements that all students must be exposed to during those 2 years, which would lead to greater success in the remaining 3 years of their academic time within the secondary program.
Speaking at a press conference on Wednesday, Dr. Esdale disclosed what the program entails.
As we work towards standardizing Forms 1 and 2, and then we take into consideration the CSEC program that students might then take at the 3rd form onward to 5th form, we begin to look at what are graduation requirements for St. Kitts and Nevis. Our ultimate goal being to expressly formulate what the graduation requirements will be. Therefore, all students leaving secondary schools at some point would receive a graduation certificate which speaks to the courses that they would have taken during their time within secondary school.
Dr. Esdale then said that this program would take at least 2 to 3 years to develop.
What we're trying to ensure is that all students who complete 5th form basically have the skills that make them employable, and that any person who were to interview a child who leaves our secondary school who presents a graduation certificate would understand what it means that student would have been exposed to during that 5 years, because that would be explicitly spelled out in the graduation criteria. This is a program of work which is expected to take at least a 2 to 3 year process to work out.
I am Chiara Morton for SKN Newsline. Honorable Sean Richards said that there are at least 16 students that returned 0 passes in CSEC exams. Most of these students were registered but did not sit the exam, he said.
We had 16 candidates within our schools who returned no passes at all. Private candidates, 282. And again, perhaps it is that many of these private candidates were not enrolled in a class, or because of work, etc., they may have attended classes maybe quite sparingly. They may have gone today, they don't go back again next week because of different commitments. So the combined total for CSEC, 298. For CAPE, same figure. For the colleges, we had 16 students with 0 pass. Private candidates, 11. Combined total, 27.
Mr. Richards listed the schools and number of students who were absent from the exam.
And I think Bastia High School, for example, the first name that I have here, 0. But the individual was absent for all 4 subjects that the individual registered for. And as I go down the list, the next person registered for 1, didn't show up. The next person registered for 1, didn't show up. The next person registered for 4 subjects, didn't show up. The next person registered for 1, didn't show up. The next person registered for 3, he didn't show up. The next person here, absent for 1, wrote 2 of them and got a 4 in the 2 that that person wrote. The next person, absent for 1, and got a 4 for the other subject. So that person, for example, would have should have attempted 2 subjects, but showed up for 1 and was absent for the other. So at Bastia High School, in terms of students who failed all subjects, you had 13, but 10 of those students were absent for the subjects. So in total, you have 3.
Meanwhile, Registrar of Exams Mr. Solomon Claxton said students who do not sit exams after registering would be required to repay the government.
It is, you have to qualify to the self-program, and once the income, total income is above 4,000, you don't qualify. Persons that do qualify, they will pay a $100, and then the difference is absorbed by the government. Right? Now, where students, as mentioned, would not have shown up, there is no valid or verifiable reason, then they will repay for each subject that they were absent for in order for them. Yes, that's currently in place for each subject that they miss. Yes, it's been enforced as well.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Mr. Vincent Hodge, said absenteeism for CSEC exams must be looked into.
I've asked the registrar to begin to look at those schools by number, by subject of students who did not show up to write examinations. And we'll have to have some conversations with principals as to what are some of the reasons why these students did not show up to write examinations. You would recognize that the government is paying for students to write these exams. And if students are, in my mind, recklessly not showing up to write examinations, then this is a policy that we would have to rethink.
11,000 students across the Caribbean got 0 passes in the CSEC exams, according to CXC. I am Chiara Morton for SKN Newsline.
Now you can have SKN Newsline on the go. Introducing SKN Newsline Android mobile app. Search SK Newsline in the Google Play Store. Download the app free and stay up to date with TV news in St. Kitts and Nevis in the palm of your hands. With this app, you can watch your news reports, watch our live news feed on SK Newsline TV, engage with us and other app users in the chat room, look at our special features, send us news tips, and call us directly. It's news on the go. The SK Newsline Android mobile app. Download it free today.
The Cable, we provide much more than just the fastest and most reliable internet service. We fill the homes of all our customers with joy and laughter. Our services connect friends and keep families together. With the most extensive fiber optic network, we ensure that you can enjoy the things you love with the people you love. Whether it's catching up with family or old friends, or simply just enjoying your favorite TV shows, people choose the Cable because quality shows.
There is a new and more improved shipping option in town. Introducing West Tech Shipping. We offer 5 shipments per week, Monday through Friday. The lowest prices guaranteed, and you can track your packages online using our mobile app or website. And here's the best part. Registration is free. We also offer package delivery with quality customer service from our friendly staff, ready to get it to you. Visit West Tech Shipping, located at Unit B3, City Plaza, Fort Street, Bastyr. Call 465-9380 or WhatsApp 665-9378. Visit our website, www.westtechshipping.com. West Tech Shipping. We get it to you.
Police are investigating the death of 36-year-old Kasim Buchanan, formerly of Sandy Point, who was found dead in his home on Monday, August 20. At about 6:25 p.m. on Monday, police received a report by the victim's girlfriend. They both lived in a house in an alley that connects Navy Street and College Street Gut. Preliminary investigations have revealed that she left him at home in the morning, and upon her return in evening, she found his motionless body in a pool of blood. The district medical doctor arrived on the scene and pronounced him dead. He had visible signs of trauma to his body. The scene was processed by technicians from the Forensic Services Unit, and items of evidential value were collected. Persons with information about this incident are urged to call the Violent Crimes Unit at 467-1887 or 467-1888 or 662-3468 or their nearest police station. Buchanan's death comes 2 days after killing a police officer in Newton Ground. 2 armed masked men entered a bar in Newton Ground, which is owned and operated by Sergeant Leon Powell. Powell reportedly resisted attempts by the men to rob his establishment and was subsequently shot multiple times. He died on the scene. Buchanan's death is the 19th homicide of the year in St. Kitts and Nevis. I am Sophia Lloyd, reporting for SKN Newsline.
The opposition St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party is suggesting that the recent upsurge in crime in the Federation is a direct result of poor leadership by the government and poor methods in fighting crime. The party hosted a press conference on Wednesday, August 22, 2018.
Yes, it is important to ensure that law enforcement has all the resources at its disposal to do the job well. But this does not go far enough. As the rapidly escalating crime situation demonstrates, the problem isn't so much the lack of money and resources. It is due to the fact that the method has to be wrong, and the leadership has to be wrong as well.
The opposition leader suggested that based on the current trends, 2018 is poised to be the bloodiest year in the history of St. Kitts and Nevis.
A bleeding nation faces the alarming possibility that 2018 will be one of the bloodiest and crime-riddled years in the history of our once peaceful St. Kitts and Nevis. This, I remind us, must not be allowed to continue to happen. The time has come to break out of the sterile debates and to take bold, unprecedented, and decisive action to effectively cut crime here in our country. When our criminals are getting bolder by the day, with senior police sergeants being brutally cut down and armed robberies taking place within public view for all to see, without any fear whatsoever, we must all admit that something is desperately wrong.
The former Prime Minister called for a national consultation on crime and a multi-pronged approach to addressing the problem.
Together to mend what is broken in our society and to build an aspiration nation where anyone who works hard can be successful and no one gets left behind. The St. Kitts and Nevis Labour Party and the parliamentary opposition, we have expressed our readiness and our willingness to work with the government to deal with the issue of crime. Throwing money at the problem is not enough.
There has been a recent upsurge in gun crimes over the last 4 days. A policeman, Sergeant Leon Powell, was shot multiple times and killed in his business establishment in Newton Ground on Saturday. 2 days later, a young man, Kazim Buchanan, was found dead in his Bastyr home in a pool of blood, and a young man from Magnite was shot and injured on Nevis Street the following night. Police are investigating these incidents. I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline. The Latin Festival Committee have announced this year that the 9th Annual Latin Festival will be held on November 4th at the Frigate Bay Greens. This year, the organizers have included Jamaican reggae star Romain Virgo, the first time a reggae act has been listed on the lineup. El Afi El Jefe from the Dominican Republic and Son Divas from Puerto Rico are the other two confirmed acts for this year's festival. Chairman of the Latin Festival Committee, Jose Rosa, disclosed that the theme this year is One Caribbean.
And as Malvi said, the theme is One Caribbean. And also people say One Caribbean, this is Latin, one Caribbean. Well, since from the beginning, the festival, we want to emphasize the common links that we have among all the Caribbean countries and the Latin American countries. We are one Caribbean, no matter the language we speak. English, French, Dutch, or Spanish. Whether we speak standard languages or dialectical variations, including Creoles, which emphasize the common link of the African roots that we all share.
Speaking at a press conference held at the Royal St. Kitts Hotel, Mr. Rosa spoke about the growing support of the festival each year, especially from local residents.
Most of the people that we have in our events are local Kittitians and Nemesians. The sponsors that every year believe in our project, that we knock their door and they believe that this one add value to our country. And I say our country because I've been here for 14 years, okay? Means I have half Puerto Rican, half Kittitian now, okay?
Meanwhile, Adelaide Rodriguez, co-chairman of the Latin Festival Committee, said they are still working on adding more artists to the lineup.
The thing is, you cannot reveal artists before you have a contract signed and things like that. So until those things are on and we get into an agreement, we will say if we have a next, I don't know.
Describing the festival as the largest Latin festival in the Eastern Caribbean, Mr. Rodriguez listed some of the other events that will be happening as part of Latin Festival this year.
So we're still working in that whole week of activity. We have the October 29, we're going to start with our movie presentation. This year we have a movie, a comedy from Dominican Republic. It's rated G, so it's for the whole family. Everybody can see it. We're still waiting for the promotional stuff, the trailer with the English subtitles. So when you follow up in our social media and our website, later on you're going to see the trailer and what the movie is all about. That is October 29 at the Caribbean Cinema. The week of activity, we still have other artists that are supposed to join us. We're still working for confirmation, theatrical group, artisan, and things like that. That are going to be through the week of activity. Plus, you know, Latin Fiesta is a party.
Mr. Rosa disclosed that close to 3,000 patrons supported the festival last year, which was held at the beach at the St. Kitts Marriott Resort. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline. Fire gutted the inside of Indo-Carib shop and Sun Island Clothes outlet on Central Street, downtown Bastyr on Sunday morning. According to reports, a passerby alerted the St. Kitts and Nevis Fire and Rescue Services to smoke coming from the ground floor of the two-story building. Firefighters rushed to the scene at around 8 o'clock and battled the blaze inside the store and prevented the fire from causing damage to nearby businesses. Besides uniforms, the store also sold household equipment and supplies. An investigation begins to determine the cause of fire as well as financial loss. The Sun Islands Clothes manufacturing plant is located on the C.A. Paul's Southland Industrial Site and manufactures quality uniforms for the local and regional markets. The company is also said to be a good corporate partner. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline. The son of Government Minister Ian Patches Liburd, Mikhail Liburd, was shot and killed in Pine Gardens on Monday, August 27th. Police are investigating the fatal shooting incident, which occurred at about 10:15 p.m. 32-year-old Mikhail Liburd was visiting someone at Pine Gardens. Preliminary investigations have revealed that on arrival, as he was getting out of the vehicle, 3 armed men came up out of nearby bushes and opened fire on him. He was shot multiple times about the body. Inquiries have also revealed that he ran a short distance, then fell. Technicians from the crime scene unit visited and processed the scene and took items of evidential value into police custody. Investigations into the matter are ongoing. Persons with information regarding this incident are urged to contact the Violent Crime Unit by dialing 467-1887 or 467-1888, 662-3468. Investigations into the matter are ongoing. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris has extended condolences to his cabinet colleague on the passing of his son. The Prime Minister said in a statement, quote, "My Team Unity government and I lift up our beloved colleague and his whole family in prayer and ask God to heal the unimaginable heartbreak of having to bury a child. Minister Liburd can count on us to give him the emotional support needed during this incredibly painful time." End quote. The Prime Minister encouraged the people of St. Kitts and Nevis to provide any information that may deem relevant to the investigation of the fatal shooting. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline. The St. Kitts and Nevis robotics team recently returned from a successful participation in the 2018 International Robotics Olympics held in Mexico, sponsored by First Global Bank. The team comprised of team captain Jervik Lapsley, programmer Xavier Shaw, engineer Christina Cho, spokesperson Jermilia Henry, and assistant engineer Tanuja Delaney. Is under the mentorship of information technology lecturer and student advisor Professor Dr. Ricardo Neal. SK Newsline spoke to Dr. Neal about the robotics team's recent participation in Mexico.
Because the way how the game is, you have to form alliance with 2 other countries. So it's not like it's St. Kitts against Canada, and Canada against the United States, right? You had to team up with 2 other countries, and then you go against the other 3 countries. So this year we had a similar game, different criteria. And so the emphasis this year, based on how Dean put it across, and Dean is the founder of the robotics competition. It was the focus on team and focus on games. And so our robot and Gambino did a good job. And so this year we are giving Gambino its due. And so Gambino was able to stand, in 6 matches out of 8 matches tall. And so we are proud of that the robot was able to perform like that. It could have done the 8, but challenges came across. We can't be successful every day at everything.
Team spokesperson Jermilia Henry described the team's experience this year compared to 2017.
This year, we went into it a bit more relaxed. We were last year was our first and we did so well. This year we can only get better. Getting into our first match, it was a little heartbreaking, to be completely honest, because we went in with this A game. We were all pumped, and then our counterparts, they got into some technical issues, so we had to pull their weight along with our weight. So it was a little defeating, but we came out better than we expected to come out after we were faced with that challenge.
Each team member spoke about how they have been impacted by their participation on the robotics team.
The experience was amazing. The opening ceremony and the closing ceremony definitely left a different mark than last year. At one point, the group Black Eyed Peas came in. Intel showed off with their new drones, about 100 drones flying in sync.
It was my first time knowing anything about robotics, getting into robotics. It was a great learning experience.
Before I even had the chance to go, I suffer from stage fright, and then after experiencing the tension in the playing field, I actually overcome that stage fright a little bit.
Interacting with the other teams, especially the ones who were cooperating well. It was kind of a shocker to see that people could act like that in such a capacity.
In its first ever appearance at the first global robotics competition in 2017, the SKN robotics team placed 36th out of 163 nations in the 3-day competition, third in the Caribbean and first in the OACS. The robot created by the team this year was called Gambino, and the one for 2017 called Marley. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.